This was supposed to be a serious hearing. Instead, it turned into a masterclass in Republican hypocrisy. Because while a woman was shot in the head and killed, Republicans in Congress decided the real emergency was a curse word.
Yes, Mr. Chair, I'd ask to strike the last words.
The gentlelady's recognized.
Thank you so much. It is so hard to sit here sometimes because I didn't come to Congress to write laws or to do things that are hurting people. I'm just asking if there's any decency or heart or courage on that side of the aisle. The fact that a woman was killed, she was shot in her head, and y'all are pretending like nothing happened. I remember when Charlie Kirk got killed. Do you remember what our response was? Our response wasn't to sit there and pretend like it was okay. Is it okay because you have a badge? Because the last time I checked, allegedly no one is above the law. Can y'all not just have a little bit of courage and humanity? A child. A child has lost her mom. And y'all want to pretend that it is okay. I am asking if there is anyone that will stand for the very people that elected us and sent us to Congress. You tell us things like, well, the immigrants are bad. And so we got to get all these bills because the immigrants are the ones that are causing the harm. They're bringing the crime. The mayor of Minneapolis told y'all to get the fuck out. Yet y'all are the ones, it is this administration that is bringing crime to your streets. That's what's happening.
It's the third incident where somebody has dropped an F-bomb in this committee, including the video.
I'm sorry.
Including the video that we had to watch earlier.
Are your princess ears okay?
Is it profanity?
But
The
you're
committee's
more
ears
upset
okay.
about my words than you are about the fact that a woman
Are you
is
soft?
dead.
Representative.
The gentlelady
Are we
will
offending your
suspend-
princess ears? Are they that soft?
All members will
Maybe some of the
suspend.
kids out there.
Mr. Chairman, it is the
You're
gentlelady's
killing
time.
them.
Kids.
It is the gentlelady's time. Let's let her have her time.
It is the gentlelady's time. Would you stop the clock for a moment? Okay, and
That was the vote.
I'll restore that. The chair will remind all members that the person controlling the time is not to be unreasonably interrupted. We would further admonish that whenever possible to express the full meaning of something, it be done so without an expletive that may be offensive to people here in the audience or those who watch this on television. I understand that a quote at times is essential, but I would admonish everyone that it has been the practice of this committee for the many years I've been here to use such things as F-bomb in order to get the message out without actually using the word. Notwithstanding that, the gentlelady will be recognized for this time plus an additional 20 seconds. The gentlelady may continue.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Long story short, we are sitting in judiciary and no one on that side of the aisle seems to care that this particular person, whose name we don't know at this point, became the judge, jury, and executioner. I don't know how you square that. And then we're sitting here literally in markup for a bail funds bill. When I first ran for office, it was in the midst of yet another lynching by law enforcement in Minneapolis. At that time, it was George Floyd. I remember working as a pro bono criminal defense attorney to help protesters that were being arrested. There were more than 600 protesters that were arrested in Dallas. There were churches that came together to make sure that there were bail funds. There were nonprofit organizations. And to explain how it works for bail, since we're in judiciary and we're writing the laws, and some people may not understand this, but those bail funds, those nonprofit organizations are not the ones that determine whether or not somebody gets bail. What they do is they help out poor people, which I know y'all are not interested in either, but they help out people that aren't rich and famous and have limitless amounts of money, like all of the Epstein defendants who somehow y'all can't find, even though y'all went and got Maduro. But it helps out those people to be able to get out of jail. Many of those people that if they spend just a couple of days in jail will then be thrust into straight up poverty because they will lose everything. Why it is that you want to criminalize people such as churches that are trying to help the poor because they understand what the Bible says, and they don't just say that they understand it or say that they love Jesus, but they decide that they actually put it into works because faith without works is dead. That is wrong too. And I'm here to tell you that there's going to be a lot of nonprofit organizations that are going to step up in this moment because there are going to be protests around this entire country because of the state-sanctioned execution that we all saw unfold, unless there is some kind of justice that takes place and we get the name of that officer and that officer is prosecuted. So I ask that law enforcement, we have oversight over them. I am the oversight ranker. Let's go ahead. In fact, I make a motion that we have a hearing in the oversight subcommittee as it relates to this particular issue and what took place.
The gentlelady was not recognized for purposes of motions. Does anyone else seek recognition? Seeing no others.
That's the moment Jasmine Crockett snapped. And honestly, who wouldn't? She wasn't yelling for attention. She wasn't trying to go viral. She was demanding something Republicans seem allergic to: decency. Crockett lays it out clearly. A woman is dead. A child lost her mother. And yet, on the other side of the aisles, silence, shrugs, deflection. Business as usual. But the second Crockett drops an F-bomb out of raw frustration, suddenly it's pearl-clutching hour. Now it's Mr. Chairman. Now it's think of the children watching. Now it's we must protect decorum. Really? Where was that concern for decorum when a life was taken? Where was that moral outrage when law enforcement acted as judge, jury, and executioner? Crockett asked the question Republicans refused to answer. Is it okay because the person had a badge? Because last time we checked, no one is above the law. At least, that's what Republicans love to say until the law applies to someone with power. And let's talk about the absurdity here. Crockett is reprimanded for language, while Republicans casually dismiss a killing. That contrast tells you everything you need to know about priorities in today's GOP. Eric Swalwell later mocks the whole spectacle, and honestly, he's right too. This obsession with tone over truth is a political tactic. If you can't defend the substance, attack the delivery. That's the playbook. Crockett then connects the dots even further. Because this hearing isn't happening in a vacuum, Republicans are simultaneously pushing legislation to criminalize bail funds. You know, the same bail funds churches and nonprofits use to help poor people avoid losing their jobs, their homes, and their families over a few days in jail. She reminds them, bail funds don't decide who gets bail. Judges do? But facts don't matter when fear-mongering is the goal. And notice who Republicans never seem worried about. Not wealthy defendants, not powerful criminals, not the Epstein network they claim to care so much about. No, it's always the poor, the protesters, the marginalized, the people without lawyers on speed dial. Crockett brings it home with something Republicans claim to care deeply about. Faith without works is dead. Churches helping people isn't radical. It's literally the gospel. But once again, the GOP finds itself opposing the very values it pretends to champion, all while wrapping itself in religious language. And then comes the warning Republicans really don't want to hear. There will be protests nationwide because people are tired of watching state-sanctioned violence go unanswered. People are tired of seeing accountability dodged and justice delayed. Crockett calls for oversight, for hearings, for transparency. And what happens? She's told she's out of order. That's the real shocking moment here. Not the word she used, but the system protecting itself from scrutiny. This wasn't about profanity. It was about power. And Republicans made it painfully clear which side they're on. If this clip made you uncomfortable, good. It was supposed to. Because silence in moments like this is the loudest choice of all.